All right, guys, I just wanted to go over the big midterms that are happening in the United States tomorrow. Obviously, it looks like the Republicans are going to do very well in the House. The governor races look to be very positive for the Republicans as well. This is not surprising with a Democrat president. Normally in the midterms, the other party tends to do very well. It's going to come down to the Senate and the situation surrounding that. So, guys, I think the best projection model, or there's a lot to look at, but one of the better projection models is Real Clear Politics, just the way they format their stuff, the way they interpret polls overall. That is the one I'm going to be looking at. When it comes to the overall races, you guys can see how they do it. They actually adjust their polls based off of what happened in 2018, what happened in 2016, what those polls said compared to what actually happened on election day. And they seem to, the polls generally, at least recently in recent history, seem to be underestimating Republicans more than Democrats. Now, my main hypothesis on that would be because we've got an extremely liberal, media, 90% liberal. They want more pro-democratic polls, and, these are polls. Republicans maybe don't want to answer them. It is what it is. But when it comes to the actual Senate, they've got it with Republicans getting 53, a net gain of 3, which would be very, very positive, picking up Nevada, Georgia, Arizona. Democrats with 0 pickups. A few states that I think are completely out of reach. Ohio is a clear Republican state. It's not even close. I live in Ohio, guys, and for context, I would say in terms of ad dollars spent, Tim Ryan has probably spent 80% more than J.D. Vance. I see about 5 Tim Ryan ads for every J.D. Vance one I see. But to give you context on how Republican Ohio is, Tim Ryan was actually, doing his ads, and he was saying, I voted with Trump on trade. I hate Nancy Pelosi. It's just so obvious. Even Democrats know Ohio is turning more and more Republican. That is not a state that is going to be close, in my opinion. And you can see the overall, look at the Real Clear Politics average. J.D. Vance plus 7.5. You add the underestimation, J.D. Vance is probably going to win Ohio by double digits, or at least very close to it. Trump won Ohio by around 8 points in 2016 and in 2020. But when you look at Pennsylvania, I think the Democrats really screwed up with Fetterman and the debate. They should have never. Who thought that was a good idea? My goodness. And when it comes to a state like Pennsylvania, a pure swing state, Democrats are not going to decide who wins. Republicans are not going to decide who wins. The independent voters who look at both sides, who look at the candidates, who watch the debates, are going to look at Fetterman and say, this guy cannot form a complete sentence. Now, Democrats don't care because really it doesn't matter. All you need is his vote, and they would get his vote. It doesn't matter how coherent he is, but to independent people, it matters. And they actually have the Real Clear Politics average polling. Dr. Oz, it's basically a tie, plus 0.1, and they say the underestimation is around, I don't know what happened there. See, why does it just update like that randomly? I don't like that. But the underestimation is around 2 points, so they've got Oz winning by 2. And then Georgia, I would say, is probably a runoff. And when it comes to the runoff, I do like Herschel Walker in that. I do think Herschel Walker is probably going to get to around 48 to 49%. But you have to get to 50, and that's where it gets squirrely. To me, Georgia is the one state we're probably looking at a runoff, and their prediction is a December 6th runoff. I just had to turn my ad blocker on because Real Clear Politics just, oh my God, I don't understand how these websites, I know you have to make money, but it's unusable. Wouldn't you want to present an actual product rather than giving me 50 ads? Like, present something that you're proud of. I understand you need to make money somehow, but my goodness, it's just unusable. But the ad blocker is working. And guys, I do agree with Real Clear Politics. I think New Hampshire is probably going to the Democrats very slightly there. New Hampshire, a more Democratic state. If we do see possibly a red wave, that could be a state that gets swept up and it could go Republican. It's 50-50, but I would agree. I'd give that to the Democrats. So we're expecting a runoff in Georgia. Nevada is another complete swing state. You take a look at the polling data there. It's got the Republican up right around 3. It actually underestimated the Democrats by 2.5 points in recent polls. So it is basically a total toss-up right now. A very slight Republican favorite in terms of Nevada. I think Arizona is a little bit safer in terms of for the Republicans than both Nevada and Georgia. Georgia, you have the runoff factor. Nevada seems like a toss-up with a very slight Republican lean. I would say Arizona is about 70-30, 70% chance for Republicans, 30 for Democrats. I would say Georgia is going to be a runoff. That is what it is. Maybe there's like a 30% chance Walker can get to... Actually, I would say less than that. I don't think anyone's getting there. And then for Nevada, I'd probably say it's 60-40 in terms of Republicans. And the other main... Again, guys, the main reason you want to favorite the Republicans when you look at history. You know, you've got Joe Biden, a Democrat in office. You look at his approval rating, where it's at right now. History says that party does not do well in midterms when they've got the approval rating. When you take a look at all of these different polls and they're talking about inflation and what's your number one worry, and it's all the economy. The Democrats tried changing it. They tried making it all about abortion. It worked in the summer, but people have come back and they said, no, we care about money. We care about the economy. And that's why it's kind of foiling for Democrats. This is the 538 thing. So, guys, 538, I mean, listen, it is a slightly biased Democratic site. Which is kind of just really counterintuitive. I'm not going to say it's totally biased because it seems a little ridiculous. I don't know, guys, but it does have the Republicans at 55 to 45, so like a 55% chance to get over the 50-seat threshold. It's got multiple chances at 53, 52. Same thing with Democrats. You can see over here. You can just see some of the states. Like for this is an example where I understand it's a model, but Tim Ryan has less than a 1% chance to win Ohio. He does not have a 14% chance. They've got Oz at... See, that's another one. I think the data there is a little bit wrong. I think based off of recent polling and also polling history in the state of Pennsylvania, Oz should probably be the favorite in Pennsylvania. Nevada is virtually a toss-up. I agree. They've got it 57-43. Arizona... they've got Mark Kelly at 66 to 34 over Masters, so that's interesting there. And then just one other thing, this is the actual betting markets, and you can kind of see the midsummer change where the Democrats take the lead. August, September hits, and we've seen the significant red Republican turn here, which is kind of maybe coming down a little bit, but still the overall odds being... the betting markets have it at around Republicans a 70% chance to control the Senate. The Democrats right around 30 to 35% chance there. So that is the situation. I would expect, to be completely honest, Real Clear Politics, I agree with this. I think New Hampshire is going to the Democrats. I think Nevada, Arizona, Republicans. Georgia, I think Herschel Walker is going to get more of the vote, but it probably will go to a runoff, and then we'll see, and that's kind of it. Ohio is not in play. Wisconsin, I would say, is not in play. You can see the Republicans been up Johnson by around 3 points. It underestimates the Republicans pretty heavily there, or pretty substantially in Wisconsin, or at least it has in recent history. So the Republican might win that state by around 7 points, and then you've got North Carolina with the Republican up by 5.5 points. The GOP being underestimated in recent polls and recent history by around 2 points. So should be a decently easy victory for Republicans there. So the important races to watch: Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, Arizona, Georgia, Nevada. Those are the big ones. Washington is Democrat. Wisconsin is Republican. North Carolina is Republican. Ohio is Republican. Ohio and Florida are very similar. They're both swing states that are turning Republican just in general. Like in the general election, I would say Ohio at this point should be a lean to the right, and Florida should be a lean to the right. Of course, we've seen other things change, like Georgia become kind of a swing state and when it was on the right. So there's just kind of different demographics to look at. But I do expect, the Republicans, based off of history, based off of when you look at the data, you look at the actual surveys, what do people care about? If it's the economy, that is not a good sign for Democrats. And that is the number one thing people care about. It is not abortion. You look at any poll and it's not close. It's like 62% of American citizens say the economy is the number one issue. 17% say abortion is. So it is not close, and that is not a good sign for the Democrats. So we will see what happens tomorrow. The House is going to be controlled. We can actually just look, I think. Actually, I don't even know if I want to do this because it's going to take a year. I could have just went to that. But you can see the House right here. The overall ballot, Republicans plus 2.5. Their projection is right around 31 total gain for Republicans. And then the governor, you're looking at GOP with 3 pickups when it comes to the governor. So things trending towards the Republicans. I mean, you can, look at some of these headlines. Actually, I'm not even sure. Here's why the Democrats should be optimistic. There were some really bad Democratic headlines where they were like, the Democrats are getting crushed. But I'm not seeing them here. So I guess they're just on election eve, Dems confront nightmare scenario. CNN trying to be independent, trying to be non-biased. GOP poised to win House and Senate. So yeah, the narrative here is the Republicans should do very well tomorrow. We will see what ends up happening, guys, just based off the polls. I just wanted to give an update on the official situation regarding the 2022 midterms.